Elizabeth, an international wedding film photographer based in San Diego. Today's video is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be about the worst guest experiences I have ever had at a wedding. Now, a lot of these happened a while ago, and I will of course not mention the specific couples associated with these just to protect people's privacy, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about some of the guest nightmares that I have encountered, whether they're small things that are just annoying or actual really big problems, so that maybe you never do these things at a wedding, or if you think somebody might do these things at your wedding to the vendors, maybe don't invite them or maybe have a chat with them. So the first one that comes to mind was something that happened to me last year. I was photographing dancing out on the dance floor. I had already cut my second shooter and my assistant, so it was just me, and I'm shooting. All of a sudden I feel someone grab me by the shoulder really forcibly, and I'm just like, what is going on? And they start pulling me, like they physically grab my body and turn me around, like very strongly handled. And they were like, can you take a picture of us? And it was a bunch of girls, women who were definitely intoxicated. And I just did not appreciate how they grabbed me and physically moved me. And it was really forcible. And that's not something that is okay. I do not want to be touched like that by anybody at a wedding. If you ever want a photo from the photographer, tap them on the shoulder if it's too loud to speak with them. Never grab somebody. That is never okay. And about 10 minutes later at that wedding, I was shooting, I turned around and I saw a male guest pretending to dance and grind right up on me. And he and his friends started laughing about it. And I totally knew what had happened. Like there was some space in between us, but he was pretending like he was dancing up on me. And I just thought that was extremely disrespectful. And it made me very uncomfortable. It's something that I don't think has ever happened before, but was definitely not appreciated and not cool. Please do not disrespect women like that. And please do not disrespect the vendors at a wedding. That was probably hour 9 for me by the end of the day. It was definitely a time when I was really tired. I was almost ready to go home. And to just have that happen to me was absolutely not fun. So that was all at one particular wedding. Now, a couple of times in my life, I have had dinner where we were near all of the rest of the guest table. So they could see us, they could approach us. That is not my preference. I personally like to be far enough away where they can't come over to me, but close enough to where I can still hear in case the DJ decides to go rogue on me and randomly start the toast, which has happened before and is not cool. But anyway, I've had so many guests come up to me while I'm eating my dinner. The only time of day when I am sitting down, resting my feet. I have maybe 10-15 minutes to do this, and that time is very valuable to me. And I will have so many guests come up to me and be like, hey, come on over here and shoot this cute kid dancing on the floor. It's really cute. But it's things like that that I find really frustrating. Now, if it was my couple that sought me out for a photo, that's one thing. But if a guest comes up while we're eating and trying to take a break, that's kind of our off time. And it's not really appreciated when they try to ask us to go do something, because let me tell you, cute things are gonna happen all night long. There's gonna be too many cute things that happen, and we're gonna probably capture a lot of them, but we don't have to capture every single little cute thing that you think happens, and especially not while we're trying to take a break. You know, I go to the bathroom once during a wedding day. That's right after I eat dinner. That's the only time I sit down. It's the only time I really get a break to rehydrate and recharge, and I need that time. So does every other photographer who works so hard. We need that time to recharge and get ready for the rest of the evening, which is usually very fast-paced, fun, dancing stuff. A lot of moments are happening. We have to be on our game. I really don't want to be interrupted while I'm eating, so please keep that in mind. Again, if it's like something incredibly epic, okay, but if it's just a kid being cute on the dance floor, that can wait. It's probably going to happen in 30 minutes anyway. Again, if my bride and groom came up to me and asked for something, I would, but they probably wouldn't. And I don't think they ever have, because they want me to take that time to eat. So that's just a really big pet peeve for a lot of us photographers. That's why we don't want to be seated at like a table in the area where the guests are, because guests feel free to just approach us and make us go do things while we're trying to take a break. Another guest pet peeve of mine, and I guess it's because the guests don't know me and they haven't seen my photos before, is when they second guess a location or a lighting that I've picked out for a photo of them. So I'll have people say, hey, can you grab a photo of us? I'll say, sure, let's do it right over here. And they're like, really? You want to shoot straight into the sun? How is that going to work? I love shooting backlit people. That is something that I do all the time, and it is featured in most of my work. But when a guest starts questioning, and I'm like, why are they doing this? Just trust me. Like, I'm taking your picture. I know what to do. Or if I choose a background and they're like, oh, here. And I'm like, yeah, it was so much better than over there where you were standing. So I just find it really funny when people try to second guess me. And it is annoying, and I try to explain to them really kindly, like, oh, it's better because this is gonna be great, this and that. But it's not fun to be, this expert hired vendor of the day and have these guests act like you don't know what you're doing. Like, clearly you were hired by the couple to do a good job and the couple trust you. So don't second guess the photographer. I mean, if they're like, they've never shot a wedding before, it's their first wedding ever, then maybe you know more than them. But guaranteed, if they've been shooting for years, they probably know a lot better than you do about what works and what does not work. Okay, so the last bad guest experience that I'm going to talk about is kind of one I've talked about before in my unplugged video, but this is where people aren't so much trying to take photos down the aisle, but where what we call Uncle Bob is he's got this professional camera with him and he is getting in the way of us the entire day. He's trying to stand right next to me while I'm shooting family photos. Guess what happens then? Does everybody look at my camera because they know I'm the professional? Nope. I've got half the people looking at my camera, half the people looking at Uncle Bob's camera, even though he's not the main photographer. He's not even a hired photographer at all. He's not the one giving everybody direction. This happens without fail. It is very confusing. It's why I also will not typically have my second photographer next to me. They will be way more off to the side where it's not at all obvious that they're supposed to be the one that you're looking at. So it's one of those things where, guests can really get in the way of your photos. So if you've got an aunt or an uncle or a guest or whoever who typically brings a giant camera and gets in the way, please ask them to just enjoy themselves and refrain from taking pictures like in the way at the wedding. It's one thing for them to be like walking around during cocktail hour and taking pictures of people, but is it another very, very, very bad thing when they are taking pictures of the same thing the photographer is taking and they are interfering? Whether it's them stepping in the aisle during the ceremony for your first kiss, or them distracting family members in the photos, or them telling the bride and groom, hey, look this way. Well, I'm trying to get their attention in a short amount of time to get beautiful photos they hired me for. They didn't hire Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob just showed up. I've actually had some brides tell their Uncle Bob, whether it was a woman or a man, say, hey, get out of here. We want these photos. Like, go do this. I've had them kick them out before, which is so nice because I don't have to be the bad guy. If I do it, I'm so polite and I say, hey, can you just mind holding off for a few minutes? We need to get these done. I need them all looking at me because these are the photos that I'm hired for. I have to produce this work and I want everybody looking at me. I want everybody paying attention. So please do not let one of your guests get in the way. Again, like, this isn't a quick thing, but I have had family members make like family photos. That's the biggest thing they want to take pictures of. I have had them stand next to me or literally shoot over my shoulder, which I do not like. That is so uncomfortable to have somebody right up on your back hovering above your head. And if they drop that camera, it's going to hit my head. So I think that that's the worst place. If you see that happening during your wedding, please tell them, hey, step off for a second. Like, I'll let them get their photo, but for them to have to take every single photo being right next to me or any other photographer is a huge problem. It's very distracting. It can really make those family photos last from, where they should have been 15 minutes, it could make them 30 minutes. It could double the time because I'm having to keep having people, I'm like, no, look right here, look at me, almost like they're babies. I'm like, this one, This one right here, and I feel like such an idiot when I do that, but I have to get their attention so that they're not looking at the person next to me with the giant camera. So anyways, those are just some of the worst guest experiences I have had. Some are not a huge deal, some are really big deals, some impact you. So that's kind of why I'm doing this video, to show you guys what is impacted by your guests sometimes. So if you know you're gonna have a guest who might do these things, maybe have a little chat with them beforehand. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.